Around the world, stadium construction usually means slow upgrades and recycled designs. China chose a completely different path. The country is building World Cup stadiums so advanced that they've left architects and engineers worldwide genuinely stunned. And this isn't about minor renovations or cosmetic changes. China is unveiling 10 football stadiums that look as if they were lifted straight out of a science fiction future. These are arenas with retractable roofs that unfold like giant mechanical flowers. Structures powered by artificial intelligence that regulate everything, from temperature and airflow to crowd movement in real time. The level of engineering is so extreme that what took other nations decades to perfect, China is delivering in less than 3 years. But before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Now, let me show you what makes these stadiums truly impossible to ignore. Hangzhou Sports Park Stadium, Hangzhou. From a distance, the Hangzhou Sports Park Stadium doesn't look engineered. It looks alive. The structure appears to bloom like a frozen flower, captured at the exact moment it begins to open. Inside, 56,000 seats are wrapped by enormous petals of white steel and glass, rising and unfolding to form a silhouette that feels organic, almost natural, rather than mechanical. But this is where the real engineering brilliance begins. These petals aren't ornamental features. They are the structure itself. Each one operates as a self-supporting cantilever shell, hovering over the stands below. There are no interior columns, no visual obstructions, only vast, sweeping curves stretching hundreds of feet, held in perfect equilibrium by tension cables and compression rings working together in balance. The white cladding uses a dual-layer system with built-in air chambers that enable natural ventilation. Hot air rises through the gaps and escapes at the top, pulling cooler air upward from below. The result is a fully passive cooling system that operates without motors or electricity. And there's more. The entire exterior is coated in titanium dioxide, a material that actively breaks down air pollutants when exposed to sunlight. The stadium doesn't just host events, it literally helps clean the surrounding air. When night falls, LED strips embedded along the edges of the petals bring the structure to life. The stadium transforms into a glowing flower visible across Hangzhou. The lighting system is synchronized with the action inside. When a goal is scored, waves of light ripple across the petals in real time. Greater Bay Area Sports Center, Guangzhou. Now you're looking at the Greater Bay Area Sports Center in Guangzhou, and it barely resembles a stadium at all. At first glance, it feels more like a colossal spacecraft that has just touched down in southern China. The roof rises in dramatic, flowing curves, forming a silhouette that seems to challenge gravity itself. Designed to hold 100,000 people, the structure achieves something extraordinary. Not a single support column blocks the view from any seat. And this is where the engineering becomes truly staggering. The entire roof is a self-supporting steel truss spanning more than 900 feet from end to end. To make it possible, engineers relied on parametric design software normally reserved for aerospace engineering, calculating load paths and stress distributions with extreme precision just to keep the structure standing. Cooling was another major challenge. In a city where summer temperatures climb to around 95 degrees Fahrenheit, combined with intense humidity, traditional air conditioning would have been inefficient and costly. Instead, the stadium integrates radiant cooling technology throughout the structure, lowering interior temperatures without relying on conventional HVAC systems. From groundbreaking to completion, the entire project took less than 3 years. And if building something this complex on flat ground already sounds impressive, what comes next is even more astonishing. This massive stadium was constructed on top of a former airport runway. Kai Tak Stadium, Hong Kong. The Kai Tak Stadium sits exactly where large aircraft once landed at one of the most dangerous airports in the world. The runway is gone. In its place stands a 50,000-seat stadium rising from the harbor like a crystalline wave. But here's what makes this engineering insane. Hong Kong has no available land, so they didn't just build a stadium. They built a platform that integrates a subway station, a shopping center, and a waterfront park, all within the same footprint. The stadium floats on seismic dampers designed to withstand typhoon winds that frequently hit the harbor at over 100 mph. The roof is a vast canopy made of ETFE cushions, the same material used in aerospace applications, about 300 times lighter than glass, yet strong enough to handle Hong Kong's extreme weather. And because everything was built on reclaimed land, the entire foundation rests on more than 800 deep piles driven roughly 200 feet into the seabed, preventing the structure from sinking. But that's just one coastal stadium. Wait until you see what they're doing in Qingdao. Qingdao Youth Football Stadium, Qingdao. The Qingdao Stadium looks like someone captured the ocean in architectural form. The facade undulates like frozen waves at the moment of impact, with iridescent glass panels that change color as the sun moves across the sky. And this isn't just for show. Those panels are photovoltaic cells that generate enough electricity to power the entire stadium during daytime matches. And here's where it gets even more impressive. Qingdao sits on the shores of the Yellow Sea, which means salty air capable of destroying conventional building materials in just a few years. Every structural element of this stadium uses marine-grade stainless steel and special coatings developed for offshore oil platforms. The concrete, it's mixed with additives that make it resistant to saltwater corrosion for over a century. And the underground engineering is even more impressive. The entire field rests on a drainage system capable of handling torrential rainfalls of up to 4 inches per hour, making the pitch playable again in about 30 minutes. Perforated pipes, sand layers, and a vacuum-assisted drainage network that would make airport runways look simple. And this is where Chinese stadium engineering takes a completely different turn. Chengdu Fenghuangshan Football Stadium, Chengdu. The Chengdu Stadium looks like a phoenix about to take flight. And that's not just marketing language. The roof was designed as giant wings that actually retract. 60,000 people can watch a match under open skies, and if the weather changes, the entire roof closes in under 20 minutes. But here's the engineering challenge they solved. Retractable roofs typically require massive motors and heavy rails. Chengdu's system uses a counterweight mechanism so perfectly balanced that the roof segments glide along magnetic levitation tracks, the same technology used in high-speed trains. And because Chengdu sits in a basin surrounded by mountains, the roof had to be engineered to handle unpredictable wind patterns that swirl and change direction constantly. Wind tunnel testing alone took 18 months. The structure is clad in thousands of interlocking aluminum panels with a rose gold finish. At sunset, the stadium looks like it's on fire. Embedded within those panels are sensors that monitor structural stress in real time, feeding data to an AI system capable of detecting potential failures before they occur. The entire complex was built in 34 months, but building in a basin is nothing compared to what they achieved in the mountains. Lanzhou Stadium, Lanzhou. The Lanzhou Stadium was carved into the side of a mountain range where earthquakes are a constant reality. There are 45,000 seats anchored to terrain so steep that engineers had to remove about 2 million cubic yards of rock just to create a flat base. And here's the most impressive part. The stadium rests on base isolators, massive shock absorbers that allow the entire structure to move independently from the ground during an earthquake. These supports can shift by up to about 6 feet in any direction, keeping everyone inside safe. The technology is so advanced, it's the same used in nuclear power plants. And temperature swings? Lanzhou ranges from about 15 degrees in winter to over 100 degrees in summer. Every joint, every connection point, uses expansion mechanisms that allow the steel to breathe without cracking. The concrete mix includes fibers that prevent fissures caused by thermal stress. But the greatest engineering feat? They built access roads up the mountain, erected the entire stadium, and then reintegrated the landscape so naturally that it looks like the stadium was always there. Now, see what happens when you build in a river valley. Longxing Stadium, Chongqing. The Longqing Stadium sits in a valley where elevation differences reach about 400 feet from one side of the site to the other. Most engineers would level the ground. China chose to build with the terrain. The result is a 60,000-seat stadium that cascades down the slope like a modern amphitheater. The upper ring sits at street level on one side. Walk to the opposite end and you're looking down from a height equivalent to a 20-story building. They turned a construction nightmare into the stadium's defining feature. But here's the engineering madness. The foundation is asymmetric. One side rests on solid rock. The other, piles over 300 feet deep, were driven through unstable soil until they reached firm ground. Each section of the stadium required different calculations and structural demands, yet all of them had to function as a single integrated system. The drainage system is even more extreme. In a valley, water moves fast. During heavy rain, flash floods can form within minutes. So they installed a network of channels and retention basins capable of handling over 2 million gallons of water per hour, diverting the flow around the stadium before it becomes a problem. But that's just creative problem solving. Now, look at architectural ambition at its purest. Longgang Stadium, Shenzhen. The facade of the Longgang Stadium looks like a giant crystal that learned how to glow. The entire exterior is clad in translucent panels that shift from transparent to frosted white depending on the viewing angle. At night, LED systems embedded behind the panels turn the entire structure into a light show visible for miles. But here's the real technical achievement. These panels aren't just beautiful, they're air-filled ETFE cushions, the same material that covers Beijing's water cube. Each cushion has 3 layers, creating insulation pockets that keep the interior cool in Shenzhen's intense subtropical heat while still allowing natural light inside. The material weighs only 1% of glass, making it possible to span huge distances without heavy support structures. And the modularity, this stadium can reconfigure itself. There are 45,000 seats that can be rearranged depending on the event. Retractable platforms expose or cover the lower bowl. The entire venue transforms from a football configuration to a concert setup in under 6 hours. The 5G network covering the stadium is so dense that every seat has access to gigabit-level internet speeds. Instant replays on your phone before they even appear on the big screen. But crystal facades are just the beginning. Wait until you see what they built on a beach. Dalian Stadium. The Dalian Stadium sits on the edge of the Yellow Sea and looks like a seashell that washed ashore and decided to stay. The roof curves in fluid waves that mirror the ocean behind it. But this isn't just pretty design. It's engineering built to survive a true maritime nightmare. We're talking salt spray, typhoons, and humidity capable of corroding ordinary steel in just months. Every structural element is made of naval-grade stainless steel or coated with special polymers developed for military ships. The glass panels receive hydrophobic treatments that make salt water slide off like mercury. And the retractable roof? It can close even with winds reaching about 70 miles/hour or worse. The mechanism uses damped tracks that compensate for wind loads in real time. Sensors detect gusts and automatically slow or halt roof movement to prevent structural stress. But a single stadium is nothing. Now see an entire ecosystem dedicated to football. Guangzhou Football Park, Guangzhou. Guangzhou Football Park isn't a stadium, it's a football universe. There are 50 fields, professional training facilities, youth academies, and public parks. And at the center of it all, a competition stadium that makes everything else look small. What's most impressive is that most stadiums function like islands. You play and you leave. This place was designed so the community constantly moves through it. Walking trails, observation terraces where you can watch multiple matches at the same time, training fields with the same drainage and turf technology as the main stadium. Children can play on fields built to exactly the same specifications as the professionals. The main stadium uses a modular design where capacity adjusts as needed. Retractable sections expose or hide the lower stands. For a youth match, the atmosphere is intimate. For a professional game, it holds tens of thousands of fans. And the AI system? It manages field rotation across all 50 pitches, monitors grass wear, schedules irrigation at optimal times, and adjusts training field availability in real time based on usage. This isn't just a sports complex, it's a living organism that breathes football.